Radio YouTube, so we've got this VE Commodore that I've got to paint today. It's actually the apprentice panel beaters from my workplace here. He parks it out the front, and the old guy, like this old Italian guy, does a bit of cleaning around the place. He took the work ute and reversed into the front of his car. So originally it was just going to be, well, technically to fix the damage we would have just put a new bonnet, repaired the bumper, new grille, headlights, and just blended the guards. But while it's in here, he said, oh, can we fix this and this? And then I actually noticed that the colour on both of his doors was different to the fenders. It was actually the colour on the fenders that was different, and I said, man, if I blend over that, it's still going to be different. I just said, while it's in here, we may as well just blend your doors. And he asked the boss, and the boss said, yeah, just do it. So it was nice of the boss to do it for free for him. And yeah, hopefully get this thing looking all nice for him. He's apprentice panel beater, I think I just mentioned that, from where I work. Him and his mates have actually got their own little YouTube channel. I watched a couple of videos, not my personal kind of stuff. Like, I don't watch much car related stuff. When I'm sitting at home watching YouTube, I get enough cars at work. Want a bit of a break from it when I get home. But that's the name of his channel, Stance Royalty. They do like car meets and stuff like that as well. Bit of a car club, I think. Around here in Perth, so if you're around Perth and you like your car, honestly I don't know what kind of cars they get into, but I don't think it's like specifically a Commodore club. I think it's just anything. Yeah. And all through these pillars, like the paint was peeling. These fenders, like it was peeling paint here where you can see we primed. And we're just doing a bit of a patch up for him. Like, honestly, to do it properly, you'd have to just about strip all the paint off the side of the car, or at least until it stopped. These doors actually looked okay, but yeah, like the fenders and the quarter panels, all those pillars, I just said to him, man, you know, we'll just put a bit of a band-aid on it. Like, what's under, it's not going to be my paint that's not going to stick, it's going to be what's underneath. And he said, oh, as long as it lasts a couple of years. I said, man, he said, will it last a couple of years? And I said, at the end of the day, if you don't give it any reason to flake, it's not going to. The only way it's going to flake is if you get stone chips or something there, and you get back under to that paint that isn't sticking. It kind of is a bit of a big job to fix that properly. And for a freebie, I'm sure the boss wouldn't exactly be willing to go that far with it, considering, yeah, it's not a paying job. And we're putting a second-hand bonnet on it. He had like the choice between a second-hand bonnet and a Taiwanese one. Like, Taiwanese parts really aren't great. I think they are better than what they used to be, but I gave him the advice. I said, man, honestly, if it was my car, I'd rather fix a few dents, or dents, whatever you want to call it, fix a few dents in an original panel rather than have a Taiwanese one on it. So that's what he chose in the end. But yeah, I probably could have, if I really absolutely had to, fit the bumper and bonnet in, but I would have had to have put the car sort of over to one side and have it right back. But I actually do have a little repair on the back of the car as well to paint, so I just decided to paint the body separately and then do the bumper and bonnet in another bake cycle. Yeah, especially with these, this is a prick of a colour, it's called nickel. I think it's like 348N is the paint code, and yeah, it's not really a nice colour to blend or even to get the metallics to lay nicely. So I remember when this colour was new, and yeah, even Holden, like from factory, that's the manufacturer for those who don't know, bumper colours were just really wrong, and lots of customers were picking up on it. And yeah, from what I was told, they actually discontinued it. Holden discontinued this colour because it was just too much of a problem colour. We used to do a bit of work for the local Holden dealership, and we couldn't get the colour right. Like, we would even get to the point that we can't match it. We like painted it 100 times and it still looks different to the quarter panel. So then what we were forced to do is actually paint the bumper bar at the same time as the quarter panel, and you can literally paint these two panels here at the same time and they still look just as bad as that. It's insane. Yeah, you can see here all that clear is starting to lift. I tried feathering and feathering, just kept peeling back. So I'm going to use 222S on this to try and seal it down. Like I got it to feather out yesterday, then primed it, and then one little cut through, and next thing you know, it's just all pulling straight back off. So that 222S, which is a clear product, is going to help with the blend, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it's going to do its job to seal it down. But yeah, I want to get this job done before lunchtime if I can, and then get the panels in after lunch. What have I got? About an hour from now till lunchtime, so yeah, just get in there and get it done, Gunny. A few other jobs waiting out there to be done as well. So we're painted down at the moment. Our old mate Frank, another old Italian dude, he's got a bung knee and he had an operation, got like titanium joint put into his knee. So he's, I said 4 to 6 weeks. He's already been away for, I think it's his second week off, something like that. So get well soon, Frankie, we miss you. Get 3/4 inch. Yeah, so I've got no problems at all. Just painting off this line here. That'll buff in fine. It's just going to be clear up there anyway, so get a slight bit of an edge, you buff it in. I've showed you guys that in other videos though, so he was talking about de-badging it, getting rid of this. He had SS badges, stickers on the fenders, and went to look, he found them on eBay, but they were like 66 bucks each or something, so he said he's not gonna put them back on. A bit extreme for a bloody sticker, isn't it? You just about buy yourself a sticker cutter for that price. This is something I'd actually like to get in the future, one of those sticker cutters. Mainly to do work like what I did on my Nintendo 64, and I've got this gaming table. I haven't actually done a video on that. Maybe I will. I just don't get time to do the editing these days, so kind of this Raw channel has been good for that. Like, keep you guys updated on what I've been doing without actually having to do all the editing. It's time consuming, and yes, as you guys know, I work pretty hard during the day, and these days I just enjoy my weekends off, you know, like I might get a few hours to edit something up, and I still try to keep, keep to my 1 a week schedule, but honestly I don't know how long I'll be able to even keep that up. Another one of my hobbies is gardening. I think I picked that up off my mum. Like, she was always in the garden when I was young, and ever since I've sort of left home, I've always been pretty interested in it. And even my uncle, like, he likes his gardening, and I used to live in the same place as him. and yeah, got into the gardening together. So that's one thing I did last weekend. Just went down to Bunnings. It's like a warehouse place around here in Australia, and yeah, it's got some like tomatoes, like veggie garden, herb garden type thing. So anyone else get into gardening? I don't know, let's have a chat in the comments. That's another thing these days, I don't even actually have time to read them all. Like I try to read them all, but I actually don't even get time. And sometimes when I get home, I'm just not in the mood for reading comments, you know. Not like I used to. Used to be a YouTube machine. But yeah, one thing I will say that I like about this kid, the guy that owns this car, the panel beater, he asks lots of questions and he seems to listen. Like, there was one time we had this apprentice, he didn't last, it wasn't even that long ago, like, either way, he never asked questions, he was too quiet, and I primed up a car and the other apprentice painter was walking past the booth or coming into the booth to do something, yet the panel beater apprentice is the one that's asking the questions. So that's like, you should take a bit of advice from that. Like, the more you ask, the more you're going to learn. Like, I'm not going to go out of my way to tell you things, and unless I specifically need to get this job done. If you're not showing the initiative that you want to learn, I'm not going to go and waste my time blabbing at you, and then you're probably not even listening anyway. But, you know, people like this guy, this apprentice, panel beater, mind you, is asking me about painting things, and what's happening there? He's learning, he's picking that knowledge up, and there may come a day when he needs it and uses it. And I'm the same. Like, I've been in this trade for 18 years, but I'm still always asking questions. Like, this actual apprentice was over here just last week, and he was doing a bumper repair, and he was using these staples. I'd never used one before. I'd never used that little machine that they've got. It's pretty basic. It kind of looks like a little bit of a soldering iron, and you put these staples into it and it heats them up, and because it's superheated, it just melts into the bumper bar. Then when it cools down, it holds the bar together. So because I'd never used it before, I just walked up to him because he was in the paint shop doing it. I'm like, oh, how do you do that? Well, you know, what's the process of this? It's really not hard, but it's just another little trick that I can put into my book. I know how to do bumper stapling repairs now. Give me the tool and I'll be able to do it, you know. Yeah, like I don't necessarily need to know it to do my job, but I'm sure there's going to come a day that knowing that will come in handy, you know. Like, I used to go down to the panel shop where I used to work and do welding. Like, I used to smash out all the paint jobs. This is back in Melbourne, like this four-wheel drive repair shop I worked at. Get all the paint jobs done, and I'd be like so keen to get down there in the panel shop and learn how to do some panel beating. Like, I've done rad supports, like welded radiator support panels on, welded back panels on this Astra. Actually made my own sections, like rust repair sections. All that kind of stuff. I don't know, I think it's interesting and it's good to know. Like, I personally wouldn't really like to do panel beating full time, like day in, day out, but I still think it's good to know, like, at least the basics, you know. And I use those skills daily. Like, I did that repair for him. I mean, that's a very minor example. Like, most painters should be able to do minor repairs, but some don't. Yeah, that's one thing I get about this this apprentice here, which is kind of unfortunately rare these days, like just enthusiastic about learning about the trade, you know. If he wasn't, he wouldn't have came in that day and asked me about what I did on that primer job. So we're not too far off a piece of plastic by the looks of it. Bit more edge masking around here. Yeah, a bit of a funny winter here in Perth this year. I don't know, more rain than what I remember last year. But I do look at my like weather app sometimes, and it's like 20 degrees over here and sunny, even in the middle of winter. And then you look over at Melbourne, where I used to live, and it's like 12 degrees, freezing and raining. Yeah, we're still better off than Melbourne. And where I grew up in Bendigo, because that's like a rural area, it gets freezing cold out there. Like it gets hotter than Melbourne, but colder than Melbourne. Still remember those freezing cold mornings riding on my push bike to work, and like the grass was like icicles, all frosted up, frozen up. Bitterly cold. Yeah, even Bendigo I looked this week, it was like 0, 0, -1, 1, 2. Yeah, I don't really miss them mornings. Like even these days, I'll just still come to work in a t-shirt. Wouldn't do that in Bendigo. Yeah, that's one thing, like you don't need thermals over here, like long johns, whatever you want to call them. Back in Melbourne, you need them. In the middle of winter, you need your long johns. Legs just get freezing without them. Anyway, gonna just ramble on, talking shit. So yeah, fingers crossed this stays down, those cut throughs. Like the last thing I want is fry up. If I was using water base, I'd be home and hosed. I wouldn't even be stressing. But yeah, the solvent, just these kind of areas, wants to lift up. If it does, we'll just give it a scuff back, dust a bit more, and we'll make it work. But I'd rather it all go to plan the first time. Alright, let's get some plastic on this bad boy. If we've got any. Yep. How are we going for time? 11:15. Oh, Jesus. Getting electric shock through those shoes. Whoa. 2, 3. I got these new shoes on the weekend. Wow, it's like full statically charged. I mean, the plastic's got a static charge to it, and yeah, I was just getting massive static shock through my shoes. Probably not exactly OHS standard, but I got to the point with my boots, like my ankles so bad, and then it like had this flow-on effect to like my back and my knees and everything. Man, I was in so much pain, so I had to just go and get rid of the boots and go runners. Starting to sound like an old man now, aren't I? yeah, I can't think of anything to say, so you can either watch or not. Sorry, but see how it is.